guys, welcome back to Everything Anime Podcast. I'm your host Shinry here at Everything Anime Podcast. I'm from anime, manga, video games, TV shows, and everyone the topic we feel like talking about. Today's video is on Tokyo Ghoul, the second half. And the reason why I'm calling it the second half is because there's a lot that happens, and at the same time, nothing happens. All the way to the very end, which does not feel like a proper ending. Maybe that's in Tokyo Ghoul Re, but if you didn't know a sequel was coming, this kind of ending leaves a weird and bad taste in your mouth. Now, you guys know me, since I've been reviewing Tokyo Ghoul, when I review most chapters of the anime, I break down what happens every couple chapters or per chapter, and then I talk about it, give you my thoughts and speculation. I was doing that for a while, up until chapter 120. And I'm going to tell you what changed. So between chapter 90 and chapter 120, we know that Amon got promoted to first rank or whatever like that. Juzo got promoted to second rank. And, Amon got a new partner. It was Amato's daughter, Akira. I think that's her name. I haven't heard it in the anime yet. But in the manga, that's how I pronounce her name. That's how it makes sense in my head. And then, you think she's gonna be like a new motto. And I'll just break down things as I talk about them because, again, I'm just talking about the second half completely. But basically, Mato and Akira, Mato's daughter, they kind of start building a relationship in a way where, at first she's being standoffish because she's like, you're the reason my father's dead. You should have been there for him whenever he was killed by the White Rabbit, which he wasn't really killed by the White Rabbit by herself, Takuya. He was killed by Hinanami, but Hinanami was just protecting herself and she was protecting Takuya. But that's what fucked Mato up. But she's blaming Mato because she's you weren't there for him. But we know that Amon was caught up in a battle with Kaneki. Kaneki was trying to stop Mato. Obviously, stop Amon. But obviously, if Kaneki wasn't there to get in Amon's way, he would have got there and saved Mato to be alive. So she kind of blames him for that at first. And then one night she gets drunk because, again, she's been being standoffish. And, she basically tries to pull her into her bed. And he's not going for it. He's like, look, you're drunk. I'm being a respectful man. I'll just stay here. Make sure you don't, Well, at first he tries to leave. And she's like, no, please stay. She, begs him to stay. And if I feel like clipping in some clips about what I'm talking about, I'll do that, too. I don't know what I'm going to do for this video. Again, I'm just talking about the second half. But basically, she asked him to stay. And he's like, no, I can't do that. You're drunk. And then eventually she just asked him to stay because she's sad, she's alone. She lost her mother, she lost her father, and, Amon was basically a son to Mato, basically. We learned that later. And so she feels like, you're the last thing I have close to me. And then we later learned that how her mother died was, she was on a team that was hunting down the one-eyed owl / one-eyed king. Again, they call them both, they go back and forth, but it's a one-eyed owl. And it turns out there's two of them. The original one-eyed owl's name is Ito. She was really dangerous. She was wild. She is the daughter, and they go back and forth with all these. Everybody got a different name. Juzo has a different name. Mr. Yoshimura has a different name. Yomo has a different name. They all got different names, but this is the names we're going to go by because that's what we know them as. It turns out it's Yomo's child. In the anime, they'll tell you it's Yomo's daughter, but in the manga, you just know it's his child. And we know later, towards the very end, the very final chapter, you learn her name is Ito. But anyways, that's the one that killed Mato's wife / Akira's mother. And she was killed because there was a unit that was specifically meant to go take out the owl, but the owl was too strong. And so Mato's wife, so Akira's mom, was like, I'll stay here and I'll hold him off while you guys get away. So she did the noble sacrifice kind of thing. Unfortunately, got her killed. She died. She didn't stand a chance against the one-eyed owl like Ariyama did, but we learned something about that in a second, too. So, the one-eyed owl the original just disappeared. She disappeared, and we didn't know anything about her. The second one-eyed owl is Mr. Yoshimura. He's not a one-eyed ghoul, but he, wears a mask to make him look like a one-eyed to protect his child. Now, the reason why Mr. Yoshimura never brought up his child is because his child is the accumulation of a ghoul himself and a human wife. And they conceived and had a child. And the mother, she did get sick, but she didn't die. She just got really sick. The baby was eating her alive. And it's very confusing in the manga. Is she her face got deformed or distorted, because in one panel, like when she has the baby in her hands, her face is all fucked up because again, it's a half ghoul. And then another panel, they don't show her face; it's just whited out, and it's like, I guess she went and died like a normal life. Like Mr. Yoshimura left her because he was like, look, the people that I work with, again, we're gonna get to something else. All right, so. Because again, I'm all over the place. I'm trying to explain everything, especially with Mado and how that ends. But basically, Mr. Yoshimura started the Agori tree. He is the founder, in a way, of the Agori tree. And basically, but before that, he was a part of this organization called V, which is separate from the Agori tree. Again, I know it's a lot in the last 20 chapters that you learn, but there's a lot that happens. But basically, Mr. Yoshimura served this person named V, and V was like, hey, we know you got a child, we know you ain't with the Agori tree, give us the child, we'll let you live. And Mr. Yoshimura was like, no, I ain't giving you my child. I'm just talking about I don't got a child in the first place. Mr. Yoshimura is playing dumb to protect his daughter, or protect this child, the real one-eyed owl, while he was impersonating one-eyed owl. Now back to Mado and back to Amon and Akira. Again, they developed in their relationship. And then, you know, after that incident where he didn't come on to her, even though she was drunk, like she starts paying respect to him, and like, you know, they start becoming closer, they start forming a team. And then all of a sudden Hyde joins the CCG, which I don't know if we talked about in previous chapters. I think we did. But yeah, now Hyde is a part of this team. Hyde's a part of a team with Amon, Akira, and Mado. Amon, Akira, and Hyde. It don't go nowhere. I'm just letting you know that now. But he joins our team. Now then, getting to the end of Amon's story, Amon dies. Yeah, he dies. Off screen at that. So, towards the end of the chapters, like the very final chapter, the original one at Al, Ito shows up. And I'm gonna explain this all in a second. But basically, I'm skipping over too much. But at the same time, I'm just trying to explain where these characters end, and then it all makes sense in a second. We kind of like skipping around. It's kind of like weapons. You see weapons, you get like bits and pieces of things, then the end of the story comes together at once. But anyways, yeah, Amon died in the story, and it was just like unceremonious. He fights Kaneki one more time, and he loses. I mean, they give him like this armor thing to make it sound like he's about to do something badass. He wounds Kaneki pretty badly to the point where Kaneki can't regenerate. But, I mean, that don't go nowhere again because this is all in the last 20 chapters. He just dies. So, that's basically Amon's story. Amon's dead. He didn't... Akira fell in love with him. She started falling in love with him. She started to have respect for him. She tries to kiss him. And at one point, he like blocks her when she tries to kiss him. But again, it don't go nowhere. Like I guess he's paying respect because Amon doesn't want to lose anybody else. He's lost a lot of people, and he's like, I guess if he feels like he falls in love with Akira, he'll lose her. But yeah, Amon dies unceremoniously, and then Akira meets this like new recruit, which I guess is Tokyo Ghoul Re, which I don't plan on reading. I'm not gonna lie to you. I might watch the anime and see if that gives me an opinion. I might look at some reviews about Tokyo Ghoul Re, but I'm not interested. Back to Kaneki. Kaneki has joined. Oh, I'm gonna start saying a lot of characters because we meet a lot of new characters. All of this, again, in the last 3 chapters, it's just, they act like these characters have been here for a long time. Kaneki joins a whole new team. Like, Shu is still his sword, and Banjo is still his shield, but he's got a whole other new team as well. And they're looking for this ghoul called Madam A because she's supposed to be able to get them to Dr. Kano. Dr. Kano is the doctor that transplanted the ghouls, rises organs into Kaneki's body. And we find out who killed Rise at the end, by the way. But she's not dead. Again, we don't get to all that. I think I spoiled that in the last video. But yeah, I'm not spoiled that. I talked about it in the last video. Rise is alive. Confirmed. But basically, he's looking for Dr. Kano. They try to find this Madam A, and she's like, hey, I know about his secret hideout. It's under this laboratory. You know, go there, and you'll find Dr. Kano, and you'll find the twins. I think their name is Shiro and Jura, whatever. And, again, we're going to explain all these characters in a second as well. But then, so they go to this secret underground mansion, and they find, like, these failed experiment schools. Because as we saw, Kano ain't just experiment on Kaneki and these two girls. He experimented on a lot of humans. He's trying to become the god of the new world, basically. He's basically trying to do Aizen. He wants to like transcend humans. He thinks one-eyed ghouls are like the evolution of humans. But if ghouls still have to eat human flesh, if you turn everybody into a one-eyed ghoul, there's no more human meat to eat. So Kano was an idiot. Also, Kano is still human. I thought that was interesting. He's a human that worked for the CCG, but now wants to create one-eyed ghouls for the Agori tree. That's where Dr. Kano's story ends. But basically, yeah, so Kaneki and Team Kaneki, Shu and Banjo, they go to Kano's mansion. They find him, and they find that Rise is alive. Rise does not talk to Kaneki. That is not what happens. Even this whole last 50 chapters, Rise does not talk to Kaneki. She lost her mind. Like, he done experimented with her too much. She's gone crazy. Okay, so that was also disappointing. But then, crazier shit happens. Yomo saves Rise for some reason. We don't know why, but he's like connected to her in some way. He saves Rise and just escapes with her. Then it's an all-out battle in Dr. Kano's mansion. Dr. Kano escaping. Dr. Kano teaming up with the Agori tree. And mind you, the Agori tree is gone from chapter whatever when we end at Dr. Kano's mansion all the way to chapter 140. They don't come back till then. And even then, again, it's a terrible cliffhanger because I'm going to tell you how it ends. But yeah, Dr. Kano escapes. He gone. He had the story. So it's a battle royale in the mansion. It was kind of cool, but the fights weren't really given that much. Kaneki does evolve. He becomes a ghoul called the Centipede, which is probably gonna be like the cover photo of this YouTube video. But I mean, even then, Kaneki, even in his centipede form, he's like trying to kill humans. He doesn't want to kill anybody. He just wants to like end the fight. So he tries to like disarm ghouls, disarm the CCG, break their Kinikis, break the ghouls' Kaganes. He don't want to kill anybody. He just wanted answers. He wanted to talk to Rise and find out why this happened to him. He wanted to find out from Dr. Kano why this happened to him. And in the end with Kaneki's story, Kaneki, he kind of goes back and forth. After Dr. Kano escapes and Yomo escapes to Rise, he's kind of like, well, Yomo, why did you say Rise? And he's like, I saved her because she's a ghoul. She's one of us. And then he tries to talk to Rise, and Rise lost her mind. She don't even recognize him. So he's like feeling sad and all discombobulated. He goes back to Shu and Banjo, telling them he's breaking up the team. And then all of a sudden he changes his mind. He's like, actually, we're breaking up the team. We're no longer hunting ghouls. Because Kaneki is not a assertive protagonist. He's not chasing anything. He's not like Ichigo trying to chase his friends and save the world. He's not like Naruto trying to like protect his village. He's not like Luffy that's trying to become the king of pirates. He's not like Asta wants to become the Wizard King. Kaneki just wants to live his life and have his friends around him. Not because he wants to protect them, because you learn that Kaneki's kind of selfish. He doesn't want to lose anybody. That's his thing. He don't care if the CCG is killing other ghouls. He don't care if ghouls are killing other humans. He's not a hero. He just wants to protect his people. His friend Hyde, his ghoul friends at Anteiku, that's all he wants. He does not care about saving the world. Kaneki is a very passive protagonist. And that's probably why I found this kind of boring. Him kind of a boring protagonist. I'm sorry. I know, like, some stories, the things just happen to the main character, and the main character has to go through it. But you would think he'd evolve into like a hero or something. Like, I don't know. He seemed like he had better motivations. At least by the end of chapter 90. Or whenever we went to break and then we came back. It seemed like Kaneki would have like a more assertive personality, assertive role in the story. But he remains passive. So once he finds out he can't get no information from Rise, he starts finding out about the one-eyed owl. And he learns that's Mr. Yoshimura. But he knows Mr. Yoshimura can't be the original one-eyed owl. He's not. Mr. Yoshimura's too kind, too complacent, too kind to humans and ghouls. He wants us to live in harmony. So Kaneki somehow finds out that Mr. Yoshimura had a child, or maybe that's what somebody had originally told him. I think Yomo tells him that. Somebody tells Kaneki that. And so he goes to confront Mr. Yoshimura. Mr. Yoshimura is like, a parent does whatever they can for their child, basically. And then he's like, come back to Anteiku. And Kaneki agrees. And so the story kind of like resets. And I was like, where are we going with this? At this point, there was 20 chapters left. And all of a sudden you find out the CCG wants to attack Antiiku because they know that at least Mr. Yoshimura is one of the one-eyed owls. So that's how we get into a fight. We get into our final battle for the last 20 chapters at Antiiku. And it's just a bunch of random fights. Nothing noteworthy. I mean, the joke I've been talking about, the ape ghoul, the ape devil, he does fight. And it turns out like he ain't got no like crazy kiniki. He just wears an ape mask, and that's why they call him the ape devil. And then there's another one. Her name is Aroma or I forgot. There's too many goddamn characters. But she wears a dog mask, and they call her the black dog, the dog ghoul. And she goes woof woof. I thought that was kind of funny. It was giving like Ribbit from Soul Eater. If you've seen Soul Eater, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that was all kind of random. And then, so the final battle happens at Antiiku, and Mr. Yoshimura basically tells like, everybody at Antiiku, stay out this battle. It's between me, the Ape Devil, and Black Dog. We're gonna take out all the CCG. We're gonna fight for our home. The rest of y'all stay out of the fight. So, and this still has to do with Kaneki story. So I'm gonna talk about all these characters at once. But everybody nearly dies. Mr. Yoshimura's dead. He dies unceremoniously, but he expected he was gonna die. He expected he would die at this moment. Supposedly, there's a twist ending at the end, but he does die. And then Kaneki shows up at the last minute to save Black Dog and the Ape Devil, and that's where him and Amon get into a fight, and they both wound each other like pretty badly, except Kaneki doesn't kill him. He just tries to disarm his Kineki, but he ends up like taking out Amon's left arm, and then Amon does major damage to Kaneki, and then like Kaneki's too wounded that he escapes down to the sewers. Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that in a second. Kaneki escapes down into the sewers, and then meanwhile on the surface, Amon just dies unceremoniously. Like, we don't know who killed Amon. We just find out by the very last chapter. It goes from chapter 140, 141, where they're all fighting, till 142, the battle's over. Amon's dead. Mr. Yoshimura's dead. The Agori tree escaped with Mr. Yoshimura's dead body. They're trying to resurrect him. The one-eyed owl reveals herself to be Ito, which is Mr. Yoshimura's daughter. She says, "Hi, Dad." I mean, I guess, whatever. And then, it ends with Dr. Kano, the Agori tree, and Ito basically like, oh, we can bring Mr. Yoshimura back. We can bring him back to life. And then Kaneki's missing, but Takuya's like, he'll come back someday. Very stupid. Now, you're probably wondering where Hyde was this whole time. Hyde goes down into the sewers to meet Kaneki, and again, it's very vague what happens. It's off screen. But I guess maybe Hyde and Kaneki have escaped together, because Hyde tells Kaneki like, oh, I know that you're a ghoul. I know you're a ghoul this whole time. I'm your best friend. Because Kaneki's like, oh, hi, he can't see me. He can't see my face. He can't know that I'm a ghoul. Because, you know, according to humans, or the human society, Kaneki's gone missing for 6 months. Nobody knows that Kaneki turned into a ghoul. They know he got a transplant, and then he just disappeared. So, yeah, we don't know what happens. I'm guessing Hyde and Kaneki are escaped together, and they're going to be in Tokyo Ghoul Re, which, again, I have no interest in reading. I just don't. Based off how this ended. Now, also, let's talk about who killed Rise, because that was kind of like the whole overarching story. So, also in very end of chapter 142, you find out a clown killed Rise. And the reason why that's important is because we find out Yuta is among the clowns. So now, possibly, Yuta's a bad guy. Ito's a bad guy. The gay one that was with Jason is obviously a bad guy. And whoever the other fucking clown dude is, that we don't know who that is, but he was in the gourmet restaurant arc. Stupid. I mean, I guess that was kind of an okay twist, Yuta being a clown, but I was just like, whatever. There was too much happening. There's a lot of characters getting introduced too, but there's still more to talk about. Juzo, who is a human. He's not a ghoul. He's not a one-eyed ghoul, and like that. When he was a child, he was taken prisoner by a ghoul and lived as like a human slave. He was a ripper, which again we saw back in the gourmet restaurant arc. That fat guy that was trying to cut up Kaneki for his like ghoul mama. Juzo was a ripper for a fat ghoul. I think they named her too, but it wasn't really that important. But anyways, Juzo got saved by the CCG and taken to the academy, but they were kind of worried about him. They were like, he might not be able to refit into society because he lived as a ghoul slave for so long. He might not know how to, like, I don't know, refit into society. I can't think of the word right now. So they're worried about Juzo. Now, Juzo was also called a freak among the academy because he caught a human, just torturing animals, cutting up cats. And this guy was like, hey, if you tell anybody anything, I'll kill you too. So Juzo kept quiet. But because he kept quiet, the CCG was covering it up. They're like, oh, yeah, we know this guy's a psycho. He's cutting up cats and he's killing all these animals. But we can't let our name be like, have a reputation like scrutinized like that. So let's blame it on the freak Juzo, who was a ghoul slave, and he'll take the heat. So people thought Juzo was a freak. So Juzo kind of kept to himself. He kind of was like, okay, I'm a shut in. I'm a freak. I'm just I'm gonna be crazy. I'm gonna live up to that life that y'all say I'm living up to. Now, also, I should mention that Juro and Shira, the twin one-eyed ghouls, they were also students at the academy. They were living like a good life. They had like a normal mom, a normal dad, and they actually lived their house was the mansion that is now Dr. Kano's like secret hideout. Their parents were killed by a ghoul. It doesn't say why. It says like maybe the ghoul targeted them because of their happiness and their joy. But the ghoul didn't kill the kids. It killed them. It killed the father because he was hungry, and it killed the mother because he tried to get in his way. But it left the kids alive for some reason. And then Dr. Kano found the kids, experimented on them, told them he'll make them feel better, told them he'll make them stronger, told them they'll never fail for their parents again, whatever. Transcend humans, whatever, become the next species. And so that's why Juzo has a connection with them, because he knows who they are. And that's also in that fight, we learned that like Juzo, them stitches all across his body, those are times that Juzo got cut up and he would just stitch himself back together. All the cuts on his neck, his arms, his leg, his stomach. And when he gets cut open, he's like, oh no, my stomach got cut open. I better put that back together before I bleed out. But again, he was raised by a ghoul, so it kind of makes sense that he's kind of crazy like that. But you learn, again, also towards the very end of the chapters, that Shinohara, one of the CCG captains, he was like trying to mentor Juzo. He's like, hey, Juzo, before you think about hurting anybody that didn't do anything to you, think about doing it to me first. And Juzo's like, okay. And then Shinohara was like, wait, what? Fucking never mind. But he was like trying to mentor Juzo. And the reason why this is important is because the ghouls kill Shinohara. I think he fights like the one-eyed owl. The real one-eyed owl shows up at the very end. Again, it's all random. After Miss Yashimura dies, the Ito one-eyed ghoul shows up and she like starts fucking up all the CCG. And Shinohara is one of the people that get killed. And Juzo's like crying over his dead body, which is very sad because after learning Juzo's story, I was like, I understand why this character's kind of crazy. But I do like it. But again, as I said at the end, the CCG, the Agore tree escaped, but the one-eyed owl, they escaped Miss Yashimura's body. Maybe that's what she came for, to save her dad's body or recover her dad's body. And then Kaneki saves the ape devil. He saves the black dog ghoul. And then Kaneki just disappears. And Takuya, Yomo, Rise, they off somewhere, hides off somewhere with Kaneki probably. It was just a very terrible ending, a very way to end the story. And then, like I said, Akira goes to Amon's grave and is like giving a report like Amon did with Mato. And that's when we find out this new character, which I guess is in Tokyo Ghoul Re, which again, I have no interest in reading because the way the story ended. And I'm going to have a talk about stories, how they end, because My Hero Academia ended this way and it was terrible. You know, it had a rush ending. And I don't know if Tokyo Ghoul had a rush ending. I don't know anything about that. I know Dr. Stone also had a rush ending. But again, I don't think Dr. Stone would have ended any differently with the Y-Man being the device, the Medusa weapon. I don't think it would have ended no differently. So, we'll talk about my final thoughts at the end and why I don't think I'm going to read Tokyo Ghoul Re. Is there anything else important that happened? Oh, I guess let's talk about Shu and Banjo. Banjo, I guess he is joining with Auntie Iku, or he disappeared with Kaneki. And then Shu was the most random one. When Kaneki decides to finally join the battle of Auntie Iku and like try to save Miss Yashimura and try to save the other ones, Shu's like, if you go out there, they'll kill you. If you're just going to throw your life away, I'm going to eat you now. And all of a sudden, like, you know, Shu has a change of heart. And he's like, oh, I just want to save you, Kaneki. I don't want to eat you anymore. I just want to save you. I want to be your friend. Very stupid. I was hoping that Shu would die in that moment because Sometimes a villain just needs to stay a villain. They don't have to be a good guy. Shu's motivation to stay in Kaneki's sword was that he could stay near Kaneki and like eventually eat him. Not that I want Kaneki to die, but Kaneki is a passive character. He's a passive protagonist. It's a boring story with a passive protagonist. It's very boring. Anything else? Any other major characters to talk about? Takuya. Oh, Takuya made it to college. I know. That's really it. I mean, she was missing Kaneki for not coming to see her. And then she meets up with Kaneki. They get into a fight. This is where you find out, like, Kaneki's selfish because Kaneki is all like, I'm trying to protect everybody. She's like, you're not trying to protect anybody. You're trying to protect yourself. You don't want to be alone. You were alone before. That's all you want. You just want to be alone anymore. So she punches Kaneki and it like makes him wake up like, yeah, Kaneki's selfish. He's passive. Everything is just happening to him. Kaneki's not chasing anything. Okay? He wanted to know why Rise's organs were put in his body. He wanted to know why his life was taken from him. But after he found it out, he just became passive. Kaneki was not chosen by God, not chosen by Kano. It was just happenstance. You happen to die at the same time Rise died, and he put your organs in her organs in your body to see if it worked, and it worked. You just happened to be there. A passive protagonist, which again can happen. Yu Yu Hakusho. Yusuke wasn't passive, but he didn't want to become a spirit detective. It happened to him, and then Kaneki decided to protect humans as a spirit detective. You know, Kaneki became an assertive protagonist, chasing things, trying to protect the world, you know. Is there anything else to talk about? I talked about Hyde, talked about Amon, talked about Akira, talked about Juzo, talked about Shinohara, talked about the one-eyed owl, talked about Ito, talked about Mr. Yoshimura, Shu and Banjo. I don't think there's anything else to really tell y'all. I mean, again, I was breaking these down chapters by chapters, telling you guys the important things that happen. But towards the end, I'm like, there's nothing really to talk about. I mean, I could tell you what happened chapter by chapter. I could tell you about the battles and things like that. But like, overall, the last 52 chapters are just kind of meh. And I'm not saying, you know, hate Tokyo Ghoul if you're a Tokyo Ghoul fan. I'm just saying, like, this character, this story could have been a lot more. And maybe it is. Maybe Tokyo Ghoul maybe Tokyo Ghoul Shippuden, Tokyo Ghoul second half, second part, Tokyo Ghoul the 100-Year Quest. I know I'm just making other titles of anime, but maybe the second half redempts Tokyo Ghoul because the Igor tree is still out there. Whoever the fucking V is that worked, that Mr. Yoshimura is afraid of is out there. Whoever the one at Al Ito is or her motivation is still out there. Rise is still out there. She's supposed to talk to Kaneki. Hyde did not become a ghoul in Tokyo Ghoul. I had thought he did because I had saw like an image of Hyde as a ghoul with Kaneki. And maybe that happens in the anime because I know the season 2 anime is different than the manga. But again, I don't think I'm going to watch it unless I hear a really good review, unless something convinces me, because I'm very disappointed in Tokyo Ghoul Part 2, the second half. And I know that sometimes writers and manga authors, they get rushed into telling a story because they have to be out by a certain date, so maybe the story got rushed. As an author myself, if you guys don't know, I've been writing books for 13 years. This was my original book, Shobu Samurai, and this was bad. I'm so glad that I wasn't rushed because those of you that have read Shobu Samurai, sorry, not prepared, have read this version, which is way better. And as you can see, the covers are even different, significantly different. So I understand as a writer myself, like how hard a story can be, especially if you're being rushed. And thankfully, I don't have a traditional publisher hounding me or a publicist be like, hey, can't send that book out by next week. I have time to build my story and make it right and make changes and go back and edit things. So I understand that that's what was happening. But even if you're going to leave it on a cliffhanger, killing Amon unceremoniously off screen, killing Mr. Yoshimura in that way by some nameless CCG. I mean, there's some CCG members that show up out of nowhere that have never been named before, and they have these panels that they're some kind of cool hero. And I'm like, who are you? There are so many characters that get introduced, and the same thing happened to Dr. Stone, but Dr. Stone built its characters up. When we met a new character in Dr. Stone, you got time to know that character and see their quirks and antics and things like that. You know? I don't know. Kind of like Boruto. Well, I'm not talking about Boruto to the very end. Boruto Blue Vortex. Because I like Boruto. Do not misunderstand. The Boruto manga was good. Boruto Blue Vortex sucks. I'm sorry. So I might offend Tokyo Ghoul fans. I might offend Boruto Blue Vortex fans. But you got to know, when a story is bad, it's just bad. This video is already over 30 minutes long. I don't want to drag it out too much. But those are my overall thoughts. If Tokyo Ghoul Re is good, let me know in the comments below. And I'll try it. It might change my mindset. But I just don't think there's anything worth talking about in the last 50 chapters, like bit by bit, breaking it down. I think if you read up to chapter 90, you'll be pretty satisfied. I was pretty entertained. But post that, nothing really worth talking about. Anyways, that's all for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey guys, this video was sponsored by me, the author of the Shinry series, the Chronicles of Wayne, and Monsterverse. So I figured I'd do this outro a little bit different by showing you guys what you guys will be checking out. So, the Shinry series starts with Book 1, Shobu Samurai Project Aryoku. 10 years after the death of his parents, Shobu Samurai returns home seeking vengeance, but instead faces the choice to save his home from shadow creatures, blood beasts, and an organization once thought dead. Shinry's Shobu Samurai starts at $9.99. And if you love anime, manga, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, Fairy Tail, Shaman King, Rave Master, Zatch Bell, anything like that, the Shinry series is definitely the series for you. You'll definitely want to check it out. The Sword of Light is probably the thickest one so far. And then these books are 2. This is Enter the Dread Zone Tournament. And the series original ending, Arado the Legendary Konjuis Master. So, and I'll just show you guys some of the covers. Really proud of all of these. But I hope you guys check it out. If you don't like that, I also have the current published books for the Chronicles of Wayne, Love Be Damned, Cotton Candy, Full Moons, Fabled Lovers, A Cursed Virgin's Bite. If You Go Where Monsters Dance, Red will Rain Over Your House. Love Be Damned. Now, the Chronicles of Wayne is about a geeky guy, or a nerdy guy in high school. His senior year, he has a crush on the hottest guy in school, because of course he does. He's only got one best friend, and her name is Barb. Well, the hottest guy in school turns out to be a werewolf. And to make the story more interesting, he bites Wayne and turns Wayne into the first ever wolfman in the last 10 years. And because of that, it was also a sacred law that wolfmen should never be created. I don't want to get into too much of the Chronicles of Wayne without spoiling it, but I can tell you it's very short. This one sells for $6.99, and Love Be Caged right after it. The ending of this trilogy, Love Be Liberated, comes out in October. So I'm going to definitely do a more full in-depth review of this one. But yeah, it's an LGBT fantasy fiction story about werewolves, vampires, white witches, a dark warlock, and, well, many, many more surprises to come. So if you guys like to read, I definitely recommend. These are all the books so far in the Shinry series, except for Shinry's Beginning. I do have that one, but it's just not here with me. But yeah, I appreciate a like, support, or just a review on Amazon. Either way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.